there was silence in heaven for about the space of half an hour. And I saw 7 angels who stood before God, and 7 trumpets were given to them. And another angel who had a golden censer came and stood at the altar, and he was given much incense, that he should offer it with the prayers of all saints upon the golden altar which was before the throne. Then the smoke of the incense along with the prayers of the saints ascended up before God out of the angel's hand. And the angel took the censer, and filled it with fire from the altar, and cast it to the earth. Then there were voices, and thundering, and lightning, and an earthquake. And the 7 angels who had the 7 trumpets prepared themselves to sound. After the first angel sounded, then there followed hail and fire mingled with blood, and they were cast on the earth. And the 3rd part of trees were burned up, and the green grass with it was burned up. Revelation 8:1-7. This first powerful event of the 7th seal will result in 118 widespread destruction over the United States, and beyond her border into Canada. The destruction in Canada will be less, but she will experience repercussions from what will happen in the United States, because she is neighbor, as well as a prophetic brother. When we are told that 1/3 of all plant life will be destroyed, that is exactly what it means. The actual event will not be disclosed until it is time for it to happen. As with all the seals of Revelation, many of the specifics of each of the 7 trumpets will not be revealed until it is time for the actual events to take place. It should also be noted that in the first trumpet there is fire mingled with blood. Blood means there will be much death when this event occurs. Most of it will be the death of animals and birds, but also a large number of people will die into the tens of thousands. The second trumpet, then the 2nd angel sounded, and there was something like a great mountain burning with fire, that was cast into the sea, and 1/3 part of the sea became like blood. And 1/3 part of the living creatures which were in the sea died, and 1/3 part of the ships were destroyed. Revelation 8:8-9. This event will take place primarily over water, but its effect will also decimate much of the coastline of the United States, the United Kingdom and some of their allies, including the complete destruction of some cities. 1/3 of all the waters within the boundaries of these countries will become lifeless. Everything will die in these areas. This death will include 1/3 of all the people on boats and ships. However, there will be hundreds of thousands who will die on the coastal areas of these same regions. 119. The reason for the destruction of so many shipping vessels is that this event occurs primarily in port cities, where there are large concentrations of ships, commerce and people. The 3rd trumpet, then the 3rd angel sounded, and what appeared like a great star fell from heaven, burning like a torch, and it fell on 1/3 part of the rivers, and on the springs of waters. The name of the star is called wormwood, and 1/3 of the waters became wormwood, and many men died from the waters, because they were made bitter. Revelation 8:10-11. Each of these 3 events will become progressively more devastating upon the United States and her closest allies. This lethal blow will finally cripple the most prosperous and powerful nation the world has ever known. The initial destruction from this event will include several large cities. It will make the devastation from Hurricane Katrina appear extremely small by comparison. The destruction of property will be beyond measure, but the destruction of life will be far greater. The death toll will be in the tens of millions. Worldwide repercussions from this event will trigger World War III. The 4th trumpet, then the 4th angel sounded, and 1/3 of the sun was struck, and 1/3 of the moon, and 1/3 of the stars, so that 1/3 of them were darkened. So the sun did not shine for 1/3 of the day, and likewise the night. Then I looked, and I heard an angel flying through the midst of heaven, saying with a loud voice, Woe, 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 to the 120 inhabitants of the earth, because of the trumpet blasts from the 3 angels who are yet to sound. Revelation 8:12-13. The cumulative effect from the first 3 trumpet blasts will be announced by this 4th blast, which will cause much more destruction. By this time, over 1/3 of the population of the United States, the United Kingdom and their closest allies will have died. Many more will continue to die from the results of this 4th event. Weather conditions will be horribly altered on Earth as a result of 1/3 of the sun's light no longer being able to warm the Earth and give light. Plant life and normal growing cycles will not be sustained by the sun, as in the past. This will result in immediate famine over many areas of the Earth. The effects from the 4th trumpet blast will result in far greater death, again tens of millions. although the devastation that follows the first 4 trumpet blasts result in unimaginable destruction, along with the death of a few 100 million people, the last verse of Revelation 8 gives a warning of far worse events that will follow. After the announcement sounded from the first 4 trumpets, a greater warning is given. Then I looked, and I heard an angel flying through the midst of heaven, saying with a loud voice, "Woe, woe, woe, to the inhabitants of the earth, because of the trumpet blasts from the 3 angels who are yet to sound." Revelation 8:13. The expression woe refers to dire consequences that will be far more destructive in the world. There are 3 woes, which refer to the events that will follow in the last 3 trumpet blasts. The downfall of the United States and her closest allies will lead to a great power vacuum in the world. Nations will race to 121 fill the void. Many areas of the world that have been held at bay by the influence of the United States and her closest allies will now be determined to accomplish their will on others. Just consider the nations that have had long-lasting border and territorial disputes, as well as religious and political disputes which have been contained. Now they are held back no longer. The 5th trumpet, the blast from the 5th trumpet, will announce the emergence of a great political power and a great religious power on earth. The biblical symbolisms contained in the description of the message from this trumpet blast are prophetically unique. Rather than having readers become bogged down with an overwhelming amount of biblical study that serves no purpose here, I will simply give an overview of the meaning and outcome. This trumpet will announce the first great woe on the earth. The prophetic description covers many overlapping, unfolding and interacting highlighted events in the final 3.5 years of man's self-rule. The highlights of this 5th trumpet include 1. The emergence of Satan and his large army of demons to great power. 2. The emergence of great power wielded by the Roman Catholic Church and the Pope. 3. The emergence of a fully united European Union of 10 nations. 4. The emergence of a colossal military might from this united European Union, and the destruction of several 100 million people by it. 5. The protection of God's elect in the torment and trying, testing, of those who have refused to repent in the environs of God's scattered church. 122. All these events begin once the 5th trumpet is sounded. Then the 5th angel sounded, and I saw a star fall from heaven to the earth, and to him was given the key of the bottomless pit. And he opened the bottomless pit, and there arose smoke out of the pit like the smoke from a great furnace, and the sun and the air were darkened, because of the smoke of the pit. Out of the smoke there came locusts upon the earth, and they were given power like scorpions of the earth have power. Revelation 9:1-3. Satan's rise to power and prophecy. Stars are symbolic of angels. One simple example of a star that is misinterpreted by the world of traditional Christianity is the one that led the wise men to Bethlehem, where the Messiah was born. Traditional Christianity pictures this as a literal star over the little town of Bethlehem. Yet, most people do not know that it wasn't a literal star in the heavens, but an angel that directed them where to go. The star in Revelation 9:1 refers to Satan. John's vision represents Satan's fall from God's presence to his banishment here on earth. Satan, and those angels who rebelled with him against God, have been limited in the power they once were given. They have been restrained by God. This restraint from power is symbolically pictured by chains and a place of restraint, like a prison. The key is symbolic of being released from these restraints. Satan has been allowed to exercise powers of influence over mankind,